Finally, we've got a new update today which adds one of the most requested feature in CS2, as well as many other changes. So buckle up and let's start the breakdown of the patch notes. So starting off with animation changes, Valve has finally fixed the stairs bug, where sometimes your character model would be sliding when using the stairs, and sometimes in rare cases, your player model will look distorted. Next, they added the ability to equip the Zeus in the main menu, as well as having its separate animation with each agent model. And speaking about Zeus, Valve has been buffing the Zeus with every patch and trying to turn it into a viable weapon into different situations. I guess the new Zeus skin didn't make them enough money, so they're trying to help it a bit. So for deathmatch, Zeus will be rebought automatically with your typical loadout. And the biggest change to the Zeus is that the damage fall off have been removed. This means that it doesn't matter how far you are from the target, the Zeus will always execute with one shot from maximum range. This change will make the Zeus a very viable weapon, especially on eco rounds. All you have to do is camp a corner and enjoy yourself a free weapon. I've also experimented with using the Zeus as more of an offensive weapon, where I would peek blind corners knowing where the enemy is, and seems like so far it's not as reliable, but in many situations it would be better than peeking with a Glock versus a full armor enemy. There have been a similar clip from Monazi in the PGL where he drops down from heaven on nuke and then he Zeused an enemy from full range instead of using his weapon. So let me know guys in the comments if you're gonna start buying the Zeus more in your games. Moving on to the next change, finally we have a new CL Bob added to CS2, and it have been implemented to everyone by default. And to be fair, it doesn't look that good, and it feels more like you're playing the oldest version of Doom. In case you wanna compare the new animation with the old one, all you have to do is open the console and type CL use new Bob true. And if you wanna go back to the older version, all you have to do is write CL use new Bob false to get the older one. And this is side-by-side comparison for both animations. And I have to say, I don't really like the new one. The new one feels more like you're riding a horse rather than moving normally. It seems like many people on Reddit are not happy with the new command, as it's just a different animation than the default one, without implementing all these different commands that we used to have in CSGO that allowed players to customize the way they want it. But here is where the new Bob animation shines. So if we compare the movement of the weapon when we spam A and D, it seems like the new Bob is a lot cleaner and less distracting compared to the old one. The old one looks like it's completely bugged and hard to look at. I've tested both and I'm going with CL new Bob true for now, but hopefully they can soon implement a way where I can set up Bob 0. Next, there have been a slight change to the way the report feature works. So from now on, you can only report players for one thing only, instead of selecting a checkbox like before. You can also still report them for other things, but it seems like Valve want to separate report ticket for each offense. A similar thing was added to Dota 2 a few months ago, where every player had a behavior score based on the amount of reports they received and the offenses they have committed. It also have a spam detection system, where if you mass report other players for no reason, your report won't hold any value anymore and won't impact other players' score. Will this be the initial changes that lead to implementing the same system in CS2? My guess is yes. It seems like Valve is headed to that direction with all their games. Another small change, but really significant, is the addition of the fisheye effect when zooming through the op. This is actually very realistic, and probably that's how it looks like to look through a scope in real life. Also in the original trailer of CSGO, this effect was shown, and it's funny that it took them more than 12 years for this to be added in the real game. Next, it's time to say goodbye to NetGraph and say hello to Telemetry. Valve has finally added a HUD element that shows FPS, frame time, ping, and packet loss, and it looks really clean. You can customize it as well by going to settings, game, then telemetry. Here you can set up if you want to always show your FPS, or you can set conditions for this. For example, you can select to show this HUD only when the FPS dips below 70, which in this case will be considered a poor condition. You can also do the same thing for the ping as well as the packet loss. There have also been some complaints where the FPS shown in the telemetry is different than the Steam overlay FPS amount, but Valve developer Fletcher Dunn has responded that this has been finally fixed. Another Redditor have made benchmarks comparing the performance between showing this telemetry and disabling it, and it seems like it tanks 25 FPS from the average. So if you are playing with less than 100 FPS, I think it's not wise to leave it on. Moving on to some miscellaneous changes, there have been a lot of networking fixes in this patch regarding connecting to servers, community servers, and local ones. They have also improved the spectator feature and the VOD viewer. everywhere. And finally, they also made your map-specific rank visible in the scoreboard so that you can enjoy being reminded that you are Silver 4 in Inferno every time you check your scoreboard. Next, moving on to some map changes. On Vertigo, they have fixed grenade clipping around AC unit and B side. They have also fixed clipping of pillar at T start that would potentially allows the package to be thrown into unreachable areas. On Nuke, they have adjusted clippings around vents entrance to prevent players from clipping through the vent. As for Anubis, they have fixed a game-breaking boost spot where it allowed you to reach inaccessible areas. They also have fixed a couple of spots where the package could be thrown out of the map. And finally, in Overpatch, they have fixed areas where they can cause clippings when moving. By the way, if you missed the video regarding the previous CS2 update, click this video on your screen right now. Bye.